All right, good afternoon, everybody. And here is your homework assignment that was due either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on what period you have class. And first problem, K is between A and B. Use the segment addition postulate to find out the lengths of AK, KB, and AB. Well, hint was draw the figure, draw the picture, which I did right here. But now, I sort of even gave you a hint. AB turns out to be 50, so your entire distance from A to B is 50. But now they've split it up where A to K is represented by m plus 4, that expression, and K to B is represented by the expression 5m minus 8. Now, rule is when you take A to K plus K to B, that overall sum is 50. So we're going to write our equation as the following. Oops, AK plus 8KB equals AB. So that's the expression we're going to use. But we know that AK is m plus 4 plus KB is 5m minus 8, and that gives us a grand total of 50. Now, what's going to happen next is the following. You will need to combine like terms. So that's the most important step of this whole problem. Combine your like terms. So you have an m and a 5m. That gives us 6m. Positive 4, negative 8. You're really subtracting. 8 minus 4 is 4. But since our original larger number was negative, overall final result will be negative. So we have 6m minus 4 equals 50. Now, next step is the following. So, of course, don't forget, there you go. Highlight, underline your terms as we combine. Now our next step is the following. We're going to take the 6m minus 4 and then solve for m. So that's your next step. So for 6m minus 4, 6m minus 4 equals 50. You will add 4 to both sides. So that's your first step. So then you have 6m equals 54. And then you're going to divide both sides by 6. So once you do that, result, whoops, I will give that to you 1 second. So divide both sides by 6. So our result, m equals 9. So, oops, sorry about that. M will equal 9. But now we're not finished. Because what you need to do now is the following. You need to plug your 9. So then your 9, so m equals 9. So after you combine like terms, solve for your variable. Now you're going to plug 9 into both 5 times m minus 8 and, oops, sorry about that, a little, and you're also going to get m plus 4. So you will plug 9 into both m plus 4 and 5 times m minus 8, and you will get your results for both AK and KB. The goal is to figure out what are we trying to find. So we're trying to find AK, m plus 4, 5m minus 8, and AB, but I accidentally gave that to you. So, okay. Problem number 2. Suppose J is between H and K. Segment addition postulate. Find the length of each segment. Similar to before. H, J, K. And then there's 8x minus 3, 12x minus 5, and your overall total, which they give you, 112. So they want us to find the length of each segment. So they want us to find really just HJ and JK, because we already know what KH is. 112 is your grand total. And this problem will be similar to problem number 1, because just like before, HJ plus JK equals HK. And then we plug in our information. HJ, 8x minus 3, plus 12x minus 5 equals 112. So that is what we're doing. And then before combine your like terms. So combine your 8x, 12x, minus 3, minus 5. So we get a result of 20x minus 8 equals 112. And now, here, you solve for the variable like before. So first step, combine like terms. And that's if possible. And then solve for the variable. So that's going to involve doing some work, inverses and everything. So you do that. So here, add 8 to both sides. And then you get 20x equals 120. So 20x equals 120. I'm just going to write, and actually what I'm going to do, I'm just going to finish it off down here. So you solve for the variable, divide both sides by 20. And then, boom, x is 120 divided by 26. But now, just like before, you need to substitute into both x for both cases. And that's how you find HJ and JK. HJ, JK. Now, number 3, it turns out, if anybody tried it, turns out there was a mistake. And it was because I typed in the wrong number. And it turns out I made a mistake on that one. So number 3, do not worry about number 3. That's going to be... No, that's not going to count. So number 3, do not do number 3. You don't have to worry about it. Moving on. Number 4. Now, this is where highlighters, especially with angle problems, come into play. They give us the overall angle, MRT. So MRT, angle of MRT is 133. So that's the overall angle. Now, they want us to figure out what is MRN. So they just want this angle. This angle needs to be determined. So overall was 133, but we just need to figure out this part. However, we do need the other part because we know that this is now the angle addition postulate, where here, given the picture, MRT equals MRN plus NRT. So, whoops. So that's how the angle addition postulate is going to work in this case. Now they told us MRT is 133 degrees, and that's going to equal MRN is 2G minus 2 plus NRT is 4G minus 9. Now, just like before, you need to combine like terms. Combine like terms. That's what you need to do first. Combine your like terms. So in this case, our like terms are 2G, 4G, negative 2, negative 9. And then as a result, combine our like terms. 133 equals 2G plus 4G is 6G. And then negative 2, negative 9, combine that, you get a negative 11. So now our next step, solve for the variable. In this case, which is G. So now, what you need to do is, oopsie. So now that involves us doing the following. We need to add 11, both sides. And what I'd like to do is try to, especially when we're bringing terms to the other side, I try to group them exactly underneath the like term. So since 133 and the positive 11 are both constant numbers, we will write plus 11 under both the negative 11 and the positive 133 on the left side of the equal sign. So now when we do that, 133 plus 11, 144 equals 6 times G. And then our last step will be the following. You will divide. So 6G, so we will divide both sides by 6. So 144 divided by 6 gives us 24. So that is our last step. Again, know your inverses. So some of us were subtracting 6. We're multiplying by 6. So we're supposed to divide by 6. So G equals 24. So now what you need to do, given you have the value of G, you're going to substitute. So you're going to substitute 24 for G. And it's only going to be in one case. Remember, MRN, we're going to look for MRN equals 2 times G minus 2, which in the end is, oopsie, it's 2 times 24 minus 2. MRN equals 2 times 24 minus 2, which after order of operations, 2 times 24 is 48, minus 2 46. So angle MRN is 46 degrees. Now, can we find the measure of NRT? You could. Since this overall is 133, you didn't have to, but if you had to, you could do this and then just subtract 133 minus 46, and you'd get a grand total of 87 degrees. Okay, next one. DEF is a straight angle. Find CEF. Well, this point right here was C, so I do apologize if you weren't sure where C was located. So that's why I'm probably going to give you one extra class period to do this. So now what you do is the following. DEF is a straight angle. So if it's a straight angle, that must mean it equals 180 degrees. This whole line. And this is something for you guys to, this whole angle right here is DEF, and that's 180. And we need to find CEF. So similar to the other problem, you're only supposed to find one of the two angles. You may have to find both, but you definitely have to find one. So now we have, so with the angle addition postulate, DEF equals DEC plus CEF. Now DEF we found out was 180 degrees. And that equals DEC, which is 9x minus 8, and CEF, which is 5x plus 20. So just like before, combine like terms. So we combine like terms. 180 will equal 9x and another 5x. That's going to give us a grand total of 14x. And then negative 8, positive 20. Again, those are going to give us a grand total of 95, 14x plus 20 minus 8. 20 is positive, 8 is negative, so we subtract 12. And we keep the positive sign because 20 was a larger number. So now, like before, now you're going to solve for the variable, which in this case is x. So just like before, separate our variable terms from constant terms. That means we subtract 12 on both sides. 180 minus 12 is 168. 168 equals 14x. And then now we do our division. 168 divided by 14 gives us a total of 12. So then divide both sides by, divide by 14. Here, 12 equals x. 12 now equals x. And then, so we're just looking for CEF. So beware. If you want to do both, that's fine. But if you're just looking for CEF, don't waste your time looking for both. So CEF, we know is CEF equals 5x plus 20. That's from your diagram. And CEF equals 5 times 12. So we're going to substitute and then follow order of operations. And then you go from there. So I'm not going to tell you anything else you need to do. I want you to figure it out. So problem 4 and problem 5 are very similar. In fact, problem 4 you got a gift. For problem 5, you're going to have to give me the final bit. Okay. Now, the other part, I want us to review some of these points and terms in advance of our vocabulary quiz taking place next class. For starters, I want us to look at words. So for instance, if it says some type of point, look at your options that are points. So don't look at an option, and don't look at the definition, and then if it says an angle or a ray, right away, don't choose those. Or vice versa. You look at angle, look at the definitions that contain the word angle. So for instance, number 2 would not be A. A is talking about, A is the definition regarding a point. But 2 is talking about an angle bisector, so probably has to deal with some type of angle. And you keep on going. So watch if it's angles or points. Now, there are going to be some that you do need to be careful. Now, for instance, with number 1, coplanar. It's coplanar. Think about co-worker. Do the workers work at a different place or the same place? So, coplanar. Same point, same plane, or different planes? Number 2, angle bisector. The key word is bisector. What happens when you bisect either an angle, a segment, what have you? Now, congruent, that's the key word. Congruent, similar, same measurement, and so on. Number 4, linear pair. Now, this one's a little different. I'm going to draw you a diagram. Basically, you have something that looks like this. And the arrow could go the other way. That's your linear pair. Because for these types of problems, you have a ray that's common, or a side that's common amongst the 2 angles. Yet, the non-adjacent sides, these are the non-adjacent sides. They're like opposite rays. They go in opposite directions from the point. Vertical angles, basically, there's one type of ray, opposite type of ray. So vertical angles, sample, let's say 1, 2, 1 and 2. Similar, you could say 3, 4. Because as long as they're across from each other, they are not sharing a side. So they could be across, like 3 and 4 work, 1 and 2 work. So they have the same measurement as well. Number 6, collinear. Collinear. Again, go back to coworker. If it's collinear, that means what with those points? A straight angle. Similar to number 4, straight angle. Basically, 2 rays going in opposite directions. to meet at an endpoint. Now, supplementary, it means your first angle plus second angle equals 180. Now, obtuse angle, that's, again, you have to figure out obtuse angle. Is an angle between 0 and 90, exactly 90, between 90 and 180, or exactly 180. Complementary angles. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. Midpoint. So it's an angle whose midpoint is exactly 180 degrees and is formed by, well, no, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Midpoint basically is one of the first things we talk about. Midpoint, what do we know about the distance from, let's say this is A, B, C. If B is the midpoint, we know something about AB, BC. Right. 12, an acute angle. Ask yourself, acute angle, is it between 0 and 90? Exactly 90? Between 90 and 180? Or exactly 180? Congruent angles. Somewhat of congruent segments. What do you know about some two atoms which are congruent? Last but not least, 14, your right angle. This is, again, the sum of the angle is exactly a certain number.